dear friend. Come on. Let's go on a little walk. And let's talk. In this episode, I am going to reflect on and share my experience through food sensitivities and my journey around getting all the foods back in. This was inspired by a little conversation I had in the comment section of one of my videos, and I had a viewer that was interested in hearing that and requested a video. And I am happy to share. I actually feel like that's a really good idea. I hadn't really thought of that. And I do feel comfortable in this area. And I know that's a big struggle for a lot of people going through this. And I can say I have successfully 3 different times gotten them back in. And I also have been in the trenches with that, so I can really relate to the experience of it on a deep level. I do want to preface this by saying that I am not fully healed. I have recovered before, but I'm in a setback or relapse, I don't know what you want to call it. And also, I share this in all of my descriptions, but I do want to voice it here. As always, this is just good, solid advice. Always check with your medical or mental health care professional when working in this area of the healing journey. And take their advice above all else. And definitely make sure you get checked out. And yeah, so, okay, my experience. So I have been in the trenches, as I said. I've been through it 3 different times. 3rd time's a charm, I guess, because I finally feel like I mastered it. And so the first time I ever went through it was near a decade ago, give or take. I had a mind-body chronic condition, health crash, I don't know what to call it, dark night of the soul that affected all parts of me, felt like all systems of my body, and I had to go on a journey to heal and recover from that. And a big part of that, I would say up there at the top, was food sensitivities. And I'm going to share, and so let me fast forward. So then I had a lot of well years. I got all the foods back in. I could eat whatever I wanted. And I thought I was past this thing. And then I got back in it through a series of very stressful events. And the food sensitivities came back full force. So I had to go through the process again. It was a little easier because I had already been through it before. And I went on that journey. I got all the foods back in. And then a setback within the setback came. And I felt like I went back down to 0. And I had to do it all over again. Except the 3rd time was quite smooth and pretty quick. And I felt pretty comfortable because I felt like, oh, I've been through this twice. I know what to do. And it worked. So 3 times it's worked for me personally. And I'll share what I did. I want to start by where I was at because I feel like I need those stories from other people to be like, oh, okay, we're the same. So maybe this will help me as well. Like I said, again, for the third time, I have been in the trenches. I hear people say that they had safe foods. What a luxury that would be, because I had no safe foods, zero. I was sensitive to water, literally water. I was sensitive to all foods, all drugs, all supplements, couldn't have tea. And I mean, we're talking, it was really bad for me. It was very traumatic. Anything I would eat, I can't even explain this feeling. It is so hard to put into words. If anyone has better words for it and they've experienced this, please comment. It felt like a really severe panic attack, but I've had panic attacks before, and it was not a traditional panic attack. It felt like my whole body was just in shock. Like I had food poisoning. I've had food poisoning before. I would compare it to that, except I didn't have like the vomiting or like the diarrhea, but everything else, it was just horrible. This might be a little extreme, but it just is what it is. I felt like I was being sucked into the pits of hell for hours, and all I could do was like curl up in a bed and like pray for it to go away. It was awful. It just made me feel so uncomfortable in my own skin, and it made me afraid of food. It made me afraid of food. I don't have any, never had any traditional like food eating disorders. I'm not worried about my weight. I'm, not trying to limit because I don't know. I didn't have any of the traditional stuff. We'll just put it that way. But I was so terrified of having that feeling again, which just felt like doom is the best way I could explain it, that there was a period of time where I just stopped eating. I was like, oh, okay, this might be the solution. I'm just going to stop eating. And when I stopped eating, it wasn't as bad. But I am naturally petite. I am usually 115 pounds. I'm 5'2". I work a very active job. I have managed a gym. I've taught yoga. I've taught martial arts. I've taught meditation. I've been a PE teacher at a school. Like, I have a very active job. And I didn't have weight to lose. And so when I stopped eating, I don't know how I did this. This is insane. I do not recommend this. I went like 9 days fasting. And I got down to like 99 pounds. It was scary. And I had to make myself eat. And so this is where I was. It literally made me bedridden. It was really that bad. One of the worst symptoms that I got with it. I mean, I had the whole buffet, 50 plus symptoms as a result of my body being triggered by food or anything. And the worst of them was the DPDR. And I've heard someone else who went through this who said, I didn't have the DPDR very often, but once in a while I did. And it was the worst by far. And I have to agree with that. And when I would eat, I would get really bad DPDR, like so bad that I ended up becoming bedridden because of it, among other things. That's a whole other story. I have successfully overcome the bedridden stage. I went from not being able to even go outside my door to walking almost an hour every day. I can share that story later if anyone's interested. But back to the food. So yeah, I wanted to avoid that DPDR feeling that, okay, and the other feeling that was really bad that I was trying to avoid was the anxiety attacks, the panic attacks. And I mean, they were like the mother of all panic attacks. I can't even put it into words. I've had panic attacks before, and it seems like they last at the very most like an hour, and they kind of go away. This would be like hours. It could go into the next day. It felt like I had to wait for the food to digest. And so here's what I did all 3 times. I had to, in the midst of the storm, this raging storm that I just call an episode, for lack of a better word, I would be laying in bed, curled up in a ball, just praying for it to go away. And I had to switch my prayer. I mean, I was basically atheist at the time, so that says how desperate I was that I would pray. And my prayer, I had to switch from trying to make it go away, praying for it to go away, to like give me the strength to be able to handle this. And so that's, I feel like, kind of where it started. So in the middle of the storm, I would have to just surrender to it and accept it and allow it to be there and go toward it and into it. As it comes toward me, I have to go toward it. And I have to stop resisting it, stop running from it mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. And just kind of this bring it on attitude. And I know that sucks. I hate that. But I really just had to get genuinely fed up with it. I had to get to a point where I was like, if I'm going to feel this way, no matter what, I'm just going to eat something good. And I got so tired of being afraid that I just kind of had an F it moment where I ran out of F's to give. And I was like, let's just go for it. Kind of like a suicide mission. Like my mind thought that's what it was. We're just going to do it, and I guess we're just going to deal with whatever comes with it. And in those moments, I had to really surrender and allow it. And this is a complicated thing, because it's not so easy just to be like, oh, just let it be, let it stay. What are the other terms they use? Allow it, surrender to it. Like, that's nice in theory, but when it comes down to it, it's hard AF. So what I had to do, because I couldn't even do that, and I mean, we're talking, I taught meditation. This was like a next level skill here. I taught meditation and yoga for 7 years. And I had to just be like, okay, I cannot accept, and I'm going to accept that I can't accept. I had so much resistance that my whole body was just, it was so tense everywhere. I remember going to the dentist and I had like wore down my teeth because I was so tense. And I had to just be like, okay, I'm tense. I don't have any control over my body. I can't just tell it to quit being tense. And I feel like I couldn't just try to accept so it would get better. That was like a whole other thing. It was like I truly, honestly had to accept it. No gimmicks. My subconscious was like, nah, I see you. You're faking it. You're just trying to get well. And it was like lockdown. Nope. So I had to genuinely just not give an F and just be like, I am so exhausted. I literally do not have the energy to fight this. And I had to, those were like my deep, deep shifting moments, is when I just truly, honestly had no more F's to give. And I truly surrendered. And I was like, I am going to accept all the resistance. I'm resistant. I don't like this. I don't want it. I'm afraid of it. Blah, blah, blah. I can't accept. And I'm going to accept that. And if I can't accept that, then I'm going to accept that. And I had to just peel back the layers of the onion I don't even know what this like type of, I did some kind of a meditation. I can make one if anyone's curious. Like I can make one that guides you through it. I'm pretty solid in them, but the closest thing I can think of would be like somatic presencing or like somatic tracking. And I know they say you're not supposed to do somatic tracking when it's really severe. You're actually supposed to do it when it's more mild. But that's basically what I would do. I really liked I think it's the third time I went through it. Maybe the second or third time. Jim Prusak on YouTube, his little, I don't know what he calls them. He has these little, I don't think he calls them meditations. He guides you through it. And his were really helpful and they were really close to what I was doing. So you could look up his stuff. I'll try to leave a link. I can't do links still. I don't know why they haven't approved that. I'll try to direct you in the description to his stuff. And if anyone's interested, I can try and make one. So anyway, so that was step number 1, was acceptance and relaxing into it. And relaxing into relaxing into that I can't relax, if that makes sense. And then number 2, I just had to start eating. I just had to bite the bullet and just go. And that was kind of my F it moment. Like, whatever happens, happens. We're just going to do this. I'm so tired of living this way. I can't take it anymore. And I got the guts to do it. And usually the first time I had a particular food, it would be really bad. And I would have to go do my little meditation. Praying really helped. I will say praying helped. That was a big, huge part. Just praying for the strength to be able to handle it really opened, I feel like, the gates. And then the next time I'd try it, it's hard to say because I didn't really notice it changing. In fact, I thought it wasn't working because I kept having bad reactions and it just seemed like nothing was changing. But over time, it's kind of like growth. Like, you can't, if you're really close to like a kid who's growing, you don't notice it, but other people are like, oh my gosh, your kid or your niece or nephew is so big. And you don't really notice it because you're too close to it. You see them every day. And it was kind of like that. I didn't notice it. But gradually the episodes were less and less intense, less long. And I just had to keep doing it. I could take a little break in between, maybe a few days, maybe a week or 2, and then I'd try it again. And then I'd try it again. And no matter how bad they were, sometimes it would be worse again. Like, it would feel a little better, and then it would get worse again. And I had to just keep doing that. And I had to put my focus in being able to handle the storm instead of trying to get out of it. And a lot of people, I know that acceptance is such a huge tool, but along with the acceptance for me was just this fire. It was like, I'm sick of this. I am tired of being oppressed. I am tired of being like having this control. I'm just done. I don't want to live that way anymore. If I got to deal with these episodes, so be it. But I am not going to be a slave to this. I had to get that fire and almost kind of a little angry. And I think it was a really good use of anger because it helped me to push through. And it took a long time. It took months, sometimes years. I'll say year. I just had to keep doing it. Keep going. And I would get more foods in gradually. And what ended up happening was it went down to very mild. So I would still get symptoms, but it was mild. and I can handle it. And it wasn't a big deal. I wasn't getting the bad episodes. And okay, so I'm going to talk about something that might be a little triggering for other people who are especially like attached to the TMS model or the brain retraining model, the limbic impairment model, where it's kind of, or even the faith model, where it's like, I'm just going to have faith and I'm going to believe this is just a false alarm and I'm going to heal that way. So it might go against that a little bit. So I could always get to the more mild phase, but I can never fully get rid of it until I had to first work on that fear level. I had to get through the fears. I had to expose myself. I had to get to where I wasn't afraid of food anymore. I wasn't afraid of the episodes. I got the confidence, like I can handle this. If an episode comes, I can handle it. I'm going to be okay. I don't need to run away from it because I can handle it. That was really important for me to get that confidence, and that only can be built, I feel like. It comes with experience. If you're always running from that, you never build that tolerance. You never give yourself the opportunity to build that tolerance and to build that confidence that, hey, I'm actually getting through it. I'm okay. And if one time it goes really bad, I always had to really push myself to keep going because I had to find a good experience that proved to my brain, hey, it's not all bad. Or eventually it gets better. And so I feel like the third time went really well because I did have that in my brain, like, hey, I can handle this. It's going to be okay. I'm going to get through it. I know what to do. And I just have to see it through. Because I got like COVID. COVID is what set me back. I got COVID again because I have long COVID. That seems to be a big trigger. And I was like, damn it, I got to go through this all over again. And I had my freak out moment and just feeling like, ugh. I don't know if anyone experiences that in the setbacks. It's like the program takes over again and it just makes you feel like you haven't made any progress. I go into those downward spirals every time I have a setback. And then I got to pick myself up again and be like, no, we've done this before. We can do it. And having that experience really helped. If you don't have that experience, I think you just have to push until you get that confidence, until you can prove to your brain, hey, we got this. We can do this. It's going to get better. And if you just go off one or two or a few experiences and you never push yourself into that, you never get that. You can say all day long, I'm okay, I'm okay. You can do the pattern interrupts. You can do the visuals. You can do whatever else it is. But until your subconscious has proof that you're safe, I don't know. I think it's really hard to retrain those pathways. I think it can be done. I did a lot of pattern interrupting. I did a lot of brainwashing to myself. But ultimately what worked was just having those experiences and being able to build on them. So anyway, okay, so back to what I was saying. Okay, so I actually had a legit thing that I got diagnosed with pre-diabetes, and I was supposed to watch my diet. But here I was torn because I was like, I literally can't even eat anything. And my brain was just so overwhelmed. It could not handle this fire and that fire at the same time. It was too much. My nervous system was too overwhelmed. And what I had to do, and again, please talk to your doctor if you have something going on. And also, if you feel like you want to just latch on to faith and the brain retraining, and this is just a false alarm, go for it. Like, this is just my experience every time. The first time I was diagnosed with hypoglycemia, and the second time it was prediabetes. And I had to just kind of make a decision, and it was very bold and very brave and probably careless, but I had to pick my battle. I had to pick my fire. I had to be like, hey, we're going to do one thing at a time. And when we get through, we're going to attack this in more of like a brain retraining way, more of a mental health. I had to kind of get to a place where I was like, would I rather have my physical health or peace? And for me, I was like, I'd rather have peace. So that's what we're going to go after first. And I had to just find peace within the storm. I had to get really deep into myself and find that peaceful place when everything is chaotic. I had to go and build a new foundation that I could stand on, because whatever I was standing on was like just crumbling under the pressure. And so, yeah, and once I got to that mild phase, I could just never get past that. I don't know why. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I really don't know what I'm doing, but I just would putt there, putt, and not really get past it. And it wasn't until I got past the fear, which was a huge stage, and I got into I care for myself. I genuinely care about my body. I want to feed it good things. Now I can choose what I want to eat. I'm not a slave to it anymore. It's not controlling me. I genuinely want to choose clean food because that's what I want to do. And I feel like me and my friends were just talking about this the other day. We have a little group, a little intimate like Facebook group where it's just a few people who are going through the same thing. And they were talking about that the other day. It's like, where is that line? Where is the line of take care of your body, eat well, exercise, and the let's have faith and it will go away and we'll be healed? Like, where is that? And I actually went to a therapist session the day that they were talking about that. And someone else in the group was talking about how like they're so confused because they listened to this preacher online and they were just saying basically, ignore all that, ignore the symptoms, have faith and you'll heal. Don't be picking what food you're going to eat, just eat. And I know that like DNRS is like that. I know a lot of programs are like that. And it's like, where's that line? And my therapist, I had asked like a similar, it was like the same kind of vibe question. And so when my friend was talking about like, I'm so confused, I don't know where to draw that line. Should I take care of my body and that's going to be my ticket out of this thing? Should I just have faith? And my therapist, when I was talking about something different, but the same vibe, she's like, that's black and white thinking. It does not need to be black and white. And that's the danger zone. What if it could be both? What if it could be both? What if there's room for balance? And that for me, I know this might be triggering to some people because some people just want to believe. And I'm not saying that that's not something that can happen. This is another thing I was talking to my therapist about. And she was saying that, sorry, just checking the time. She was saying, you can't be anywhere else than other than where you are in your healing journey. You have to accept where you are. You have to work within your capacity, and you slowly build. You slowly transform, baby step by baby step. You come into a different level, but you cannot receive anything that you do not have the capacity to receive until you've matured enough to be able to receive that. And I think we're all healed. I truly believe we're all healed. Thus, the name of my channel, Unhealing. Because I got to a point where I was like, I don't need to heal. I actually need to unheal. I need to quit healing. It's interrupting my healing. And it's kind of a paradox. But anyway. And so, yes, I think that we are healed. Can we receive that? Are we capable of receiving that? Are we aligned with that? I'm not. I got a long ways to go before I can truly, without a shadow of a doubt, believe. My mom's like that. She just has this rock hard, solid, unmovable, unshakable belief that she's going to be healed from whatever. She had stage 4 cancer everywhere. They told her there was no chance in hell. They wouldn't even treat her. It was a waste of time and resources. They were like, go get your affairs in order. And she healed in 6 months because she said, God's going to heal me. And she just chilled the F out. She was so unbothered. She just knew. She's like, I'm going to be healed. It's not my time to go yet. I got stuff to do. And she just wasn't ever shaken. Like that was kind of my first moment of like, Mama, I don't know what you got, but I want that peace. How do you hear that news and hear no one can help you and you're just chilled out? She used to just sit in her rocking chair. I was her caretaker through this time. She used to sit in her rocking chair with a smile on her face, just chilled out. And that was my first, I asked her, I was like, Mom, how are you so peaceful? And she's like, because whatever God's will is, will be. And I know that he's going to heal me. And if it's my time to go, then it's my time to go. And I'm not worried about it. I know where I'm going. I know I'm going to be okay. And God's going to take care of me. And I was like, and she said, it's the peace of Christ. And that was like a long time ago. That was my first, like, wow, I don't know anyone that has that kind of peace. Like, how is she doing this? I want that. It was never anyone preaching to me. I've had people tell me I'm going straight to hell. It was none of those people. It was the example of my mom that first kind of sparked that after I had been in unbelief for a long time. Anyway, my mom has been free of cancer. She healed in 6 months. She's been free of cancer for 10 years. They told her she had diabetes too. She's like, she just freaking kept eating sugar. She kept eating sugar and she reversed her diabetes. Like, so I've seen it firsthand. Am I capable of that right now in this level? No, not yet. So for me, every time I got to that, the symptoms were mild. I wasn't afraid of the food anymore. I could eat whatever I wanted. To get the next level, I had to clean up my diet. But it came from a place of love and choice and not fear. And every single time, every stinking time, it all goes the same way for me. And once I hit that kind of comfortable, but just putting along, and I clean up my diet, it takes me to the next level. And I start feeling much better. Where I was going with that was, so I did end up having to confront the diabetes thing. I had diabetes, and by the time I got through working on just the fear of food and getting everything back in, I then had to, I kind of was in this place where I was like, I'll see what drops off, what sticks, let's give it some time. If there's still something there, we'll deal with it. And for me, I had to end up dealing with that. And I had to completely get rid of sugar. I had to lower my carbs. It made me feel a lot better. It was a big piece of my puzzle, and I am not too proud to take a practical approach as well. Like, to me, this isn't just physical, it's not just mental, it's not just emotional, it's not just spiritual, it is all of them. And for me, in my experience, I've had to have all the pieces. I can't go extreme and just go one way. It does not work for me. I need balance, and I need to bring all the parts of me forward. I have to pay attention to all the areas. And so just faith and just brain retraining and just, oh, this is just a false alarm, that doesn't work. It only gets me so far. And then I have to be like, hey, what are practical things I can do? I do not believe you can continue to just abuse your body and expect to get well. I think there is room for taking care of your body. There's room for medical intervention. For a lot of us, it don't do crap. But if it can help somewhere, why not do it? If cutting out sugar, you know, as long as you're not going to the extreme and it's becoming like a mental health issue, if you're doing it out of love, what's the difference in doing that than working hours and hours and months retraining your brain? Like, to me, that's simple, easy. Like, why wouldn't I do that? Now, if it's getting to an extreme, like I said, that's not healthy. There's room to retrain the brain as well. But yeah, I had to confront that, and I had to work on my blood sugars every time. And that took me to the next level. So I guess this is just to say, if you have something going on, very physical, that you have been diagnosed with, if you're too overwhelmed, I guess you could just, well, I'm not even going to give advice. You really need to go talk to your doctor. But for me personally, I had to just kind of pick one battle at a time and and then move to the next one. And that one was part of my journey, getting my blood sugars regulated. Because I mean, by the time I got done getting all the foods back in, I was in diabetes. I wasn't in pre-diabetes anymore. I was in diabetes range. And my doctor was like, it is all stress. You are not overweight. You do not have a problem mostly eating healthy. It's stress. Stress can wreck your blood sugars. And he told me so many times, you've got to get your stress under control. And so I think the just process of getting over the fears was huge to help them, but I still had to take a very practical approach at some point. And regulating those and getting, I was in diabetic range when I finally was like, could take a breather and like, okay, what's next? And I had to work to get those regulated. I'm still working on that part. I'm still not fully out of it this time, but I know I'll get there because that's how I did it last time. And I see the same progression still this time and the time before that and the time before that. So anyway, that is my story of getting all the foods back in, being in a very severe place with them. And that's just trial and error for me, really. I did try to do some brain retraining stuff through it. I do feel like the pattern interrupts helped. It did really help to just like, I used to check my blood sugar all the time. I had to just let go of any kind of compulsive stuff for a moment and just let my nervous system settle down. And kind of break a lot of addictions like checking and obsessing and going to the doctors, and like I had to just quit all that and just accept. And I had to accept death because my mind was convinced we were dying. It was convinced we were dying. And I had to just be like, okay, if we're dying, then I guess we're dying. And I had to accept death. And I had to let my ego die, let me die. I had to let me die before something new could be born. I had to just be okay, because one of my beliefs was that I would just never exist again. I just wouldn't exist. It would just go black and that was the end of that. Which is kind of like rationally, it's like, okay, well, then you're just not even going to notice. It's not going to be scary because you're not going to be conscious, right? But for some reason it just scared me and I had to just be okay with just not existing anymore. So anyway, okay, well, this is really long and that's been my experience. I'm happy to answer questions. Like I said, I'm not fully out of it this time. I'm just getting to the clean eating phase. I'm feeling a ton better. And I feel really confident in the area of food now. And that has been my biggest trigger. Definitely, by far. I can totally relate with the people that have MCAS. I've never been diagnosed, but I can relate to it. I get all the feels with it. So, and it's been my biggest battle. So I feel comfortable with it now, though, and I'm happy to talk about it. Like I said, I think, this is just my own personal experience. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different journey. Everyone has different things they've got to go through and learn, and there's a different recipe for everyone, but this is just my story. Okay, well, I'm going to head home now, and thanks for coming along. Bye.